My name is Jane Ring-Frank, and I'm the Artistic Director of the Concord Women's Chorus. I'm here today to discuss our upcoming concert called Amy Beach and Her Contemporaries on May 12th. This concert is dedicated to women composers who were writing at the turn of the 20th century. My special guest today is Dr. Leanne Curtis, musicologist and advocate extraordinaire for women composers in the concert hall. And it's because of Leanne that this concert has really come to be. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Jane. It's a pleasure.
Good. Well, the centerpiece of this concert is really dedicated to Amy Beach and to her marvelous work written for women's voices called The Rose of Avontown. The piece has not been performed very often in recent times, so I thought maybe you could talk to us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to get to hear it because it really was one of her best known pieces in her lifetime and really a great success. I mean, it was such a notable New England figure. She was an incredible child prodigy, both as a composer and also as a pianist, and just really had a great following. She married a local Boston doctor, which put her into high society, but also curtailed her piano playing career. But then he helped her to focus on composition and urged her to do that. And so she wrote her big mass in 1891 that was performed by the Handel and Haydn Society. And that got her going on a roll of all these, the symphony was performed by the BSO in 1896. And then she performed her piano concerto with the BSO in 1900. So The Rose of Avontown was right about the same time as the symphony, 1896, that she wrote it for a women's chorus based in New York City. So it was just coming out of all this popularity with these other big pieces that she was being encouraged to write.
The piece, The Rose of Avontown, has fallen out of popularity, I think, certainly in the 21st century, but has come back with a kind of some energy, because it not only is the text so lovely and so emblematic of what was happening at that time, Victorian, but the writing is so extraordinary. And I thought maybe you could talk to us a little bit about the 14-piece orchestra that we will have and a little bit about this beautiful writing.
Yes, I mean, it really is a gorgeous piece. I think she has a wonderful sense of lilting melody. I mean, I think the text itself, the whole notion of a rose as the symbol of a woman that's going to fade and lose its beauty, but still have its heart of gold. But I mean, it's a very sentimental text, and so we can see that would fall out of fashion now. But I think we can come back to appreciate the sort of the warmth, the heartfelt warmth that it was really representing at the time, and its whole. It was a very popular piece because so many people saw this as being a woman's role. Her role as the wife was really a central one. So, it really is beautifully written, and it hasn't been heard with orchestra because the orchestra parts have been in manuscript. So we were able to get these edited so you can play from nice, beautifully engraved parts now. So.
One of the joys for Concord Women's Chorus has been the support of the Women's Philharmonic Advocacy. Not only some financial support, but these marvelous orchestra parts that you mentioned has really given us an opportunity that we're just reveling in rehearsing this beautiful piece. And around this piece, as the centerpiece of the program, we have been able to place a number of smaller works by women who were writing at the same time that are equally as beautiful, different, stylistically different women we represent France, we represent England, we represent the United States. And I think that it's been a joy. This program has been a long time coming, but it has been an absolute joy to have these women stand shoulder to shoulder and represent. And I thought maybe you could speak a little bit to the work of the Women's Philharmonic Advocacy supporting small groups like ours.
Yes, I mean, we give small grants to encourage orchestral performances of music by women composers. And, I think the orchestral realm, it's like the more personnel a piece takes, the harder it is to get something performed and to get it, a commitment. It's a big financial commitment to get a professional performance. So we want to encourage that. And so we have had a lot of enthusiasm for these grants from smaller ensembles. I mean, obviously big, huge ensembles aren't going to spend a lot of time on them, but the interest has really been very, very heartening. And to get some pieces like this heard and back in the repertoire. And one of our staff members, Chris Trotman, he loves Beach's music. He's going to come up for the performance. He works in Baltimore. He's the one who did the edition, so he's very, very excited too. I mean, I think you do hear some of the influence from the symphony in the piece, that she was able to learn a lot about writing for orchestra, from writing the mass and also writing the symphony. And just has some beautiful melodic work and beautiful control of the orchestra. So, and then the whole context. I mean, it's all in the whole late 19th century context of women composers really starting to come into their own in the United States and in Europe. So Lili Boulanger, had a very, very different life from Amy Beach's. I mean, she was part of a very musical family. And Nadia Boulanger is her better well-known sister. Nadia is known as a teacher of many, many famous 20th century composers. But I mean, Lili was such a prodigy in composition herself, and won the Prix de Rome, was known for that, being the first woman to win this famous prize that was given in Paris. So I'm excited to hear her works as well.
So included on the program, and Lili Boulanger's Les Sirènes, the Mermaids, and it is an extraordinary melodic piece, soaring. And talk to us just a little bit about Lili's very short, abbreviated life, but this extraordinary output of beautiful instrumental choral vocal music.
Yes, yeah. I mean, she's born in 1893. And then she gets tuberculosis, I think, or pneumonia, and I describe different ways. Pneumonia, and then I think eventually Crohn's disease. I mean, she has intestinal difficulties really her entire short life, and then dies in 1918, dies just at the end of World War I, but really writes with such intensity. And the last few months of her life was dictating music to her sister because she was too weak to write it herself. But really, her music that survives is very, very treasured by, especially the few pieces that we've gotten to know so far. So I'm very excited to get to hear these pieces.
And another little jewel on the program is something right in your wheelhouse, which is one of our favorite pieces written for women's voices, a tiny jewel, the Ave Maria by Rebecca Clark. And I thought you might want to tell the audience a little bit about Rebecca Clark and the Rebecca Clark Society.
Yes, I mean, Rebecca Clark is a composer very dear to my heart, born just outside of London in 1886, and she died in New York City in 1979, had a long life, and wrote most of her music in the earlier part of her life, and really nothing after her marriage in 1944, except maybe one or two pieces. But she's best known for her music for viola, and she was a violist herself, and some chamber works and songs. But these choral pieces were quite extraordinary because they weren't known at all and apparently never performed in her lifetime. A Catholic friend encouraged her to write this piece, the Ave Maria that you're doing, and to send it to a Catholic church in London, but apparently it still wasn't performed, until, about 20 years after her death. So it's really a lovely little a cappella gem. So.
It is, and I think the audience will really enjoy that she looks back over her shoulder to, it's a perfect motet, an early music motet written with contemporary harmonic language, and it's something that really is a favorite of our ensemble.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that this kind of odd program that we've put together is a very rich and textured representation of what was happening at the time, and we've even decided to add some instrumental music, some solo vocal music, Boulanger's little gems for violin and piano. We'll hear one of those, the Nocturne. And I thought maybe you could just speak to the sheer volume of music that was being written at the time.
Yes, I mean, really a lot of music, and and some of it, it's like Rebecca Clark's music, a lot of it wasn't published in her lifetime, but somebody like Amy Beach, most of her music was published. I mean, the Rose of Avontown in a piano vocal score, but it just sort of fell by the wayside. And I think we're more open now to a different, range of styles. That we're post-modern. We can embrace all kinds of stylistic vocabulary and all kinds of of approaches to music and text. So we can appreciate it more, and it's really, really lovely. sweet. And someone like, well, you have Cécile Chaminade on the program as well, and she's maybe the oldest of all. She's born in 1857, but was incredibly popular in her day, mostly for her piano music and songs, but then also all kinds of other music we don't get to hear. She wrote an opera that was very influenced by Bizet's Carmen, and a lot of choral music that, I'd love to hear some of that. So.
Good. So we hope you'll join us on May 12th. We're very grateful to be here with Dr. Curtis. You'll get to hear her again at the concert, telling the audience about this marvelous music. And thank you to Talk of the Town. We hope to see you again.